Picture this, a Japanese field cascaded in white tulips. Two samurai are locked in motion, readying their blades. Nature's ambience acting as soothing resonance to the brutality that is about to ensue. Cinematic moments like this are executed so well in Ghost of Tsushima. But even more impressive is when the scene fades out, and you are presented with a combat system that is brutal, visceral, and precise. Sucker Punch is not only delivered upon making its duels visually epic at times, it has also developed a combat system with depth that made each encounter a complete joy for me. Well, aside from when I'm getting pelted by uncourteous archers. Welcome to the gaming conversation, as today we take a look at why Ghost of Tsushima has some of the best video game combat in recent memory. Oh yes, I said it. Samurai standoffs are one of the things in contemporary media that I think most people have time for. The suspense, the build-up, and of course, the swift duel all go a long way into painting samurais as cool. Replicating this in gaming form isn't necessarily an easy feat. There is a fine balance that I believe has to be carefully considered. On one side, you want in a historical game such as Tsushima for the combat to feel authentic, realistic, deliberate and reflective of the awesome standoffs we see in film. On the other hand, it is also important to deliver an experience that is not only cinematic, but also ultimately fun to play. In gaming terms, this balance will essentially be between something like the recent Assassin's Creed combat, enemies with cat-sized health bars who can take more hits than Nate Diaz, and on the other side, reducing the combat to a sequence of quick-time events. Thankfully, Sucker Punch has managed to provide combat that is engaging, realistic in how brutal and precise a samurai and his katana would be, whilst also providing depth and skill to the system, again, while not foregoing the cinematic elements. Enemies with little armour are easy pickings, unable to take many hits irrespective of the difficulty you play on. Heavily armoured enemies on the other hand, naturally can take a few more hits, but again, a precise puncture at a neck weak point for example, will be fatal, as it bloody should be. The 1v1 duels are just a delight, and on hard difficulty provide a genuine challenge, delving into a mental chess game, with each of the pieces providing a fatal punch. Hit detection and the syncing of sword clashes adds a respectful weight to the combat. At the best of times, the combat does feel like a beautifully brutal dance that lives up to years of anticipation and naturally inflated expectations. But what about when you put the sword away for a minute? It would be incredibly reductive to just speak about the combat in relation to the duels. The fact is, Ghost of Tsushima for the most part offers impressive freedom in how you can approach combat, with each approach, in my opinion, feeling equally viable. Jin Sakai, traditionally and philosophically, is a samurai. Face-to-face duels are as much about being cinematic from a gameplay point of view, as they are important to Jin and the samurai's code of honour. But, desperate times. Over the course of the game, you'll be given a number of different tools to approach combat. The sword of course, stealth and the bow all offer different paths that can either be for the most part stuck to, or even intertwined. A stealthy approach into an enemy encampment provides the opportunity to take out many, if not at times all enemies, in a single blow, each that is. There are certain heavily armoured guards who initially may take more than one strike, but otherwise, stealth is swift and efficient. It probably helps that the AI is wildly inconsistent, going from having hawk-level vision to being downright stupid. Nevertheless, stealth is a rewarding path to take, thank goodness. Bow combat can also be a lethal way to dispatch Mongols, bears and bandits with all the efficiency of me picking out my Tesco meal deal. No time is wasted here. Imagine you shoot an enemy without armour in the head and they die, like, straight away. Hear that, Ubisoft? What a concept. Slowing down time on horseback as you approach an unaware bandit tribe can make you feel a bit like Legolas. Take that how you will. There is a great duality to the combat, reflective of the character of Jin. I personally switched between approaches on the fly, which was completely viable. I didn't have to heavily spec into one build, just so I could get one-hit headshots, which is great. But maybe there is a slight issue I haven't spoken about. One of the recurring issues I have seen raised by players is that combat can be a bit too easy at times. Now, I think it is fair to point out that this game was never going to be Sekiro levels of agonisingly hard, but objectively, I think this assertion holds some weight. Let me explain, because there is a context here that is important to consider. Generally speaking, I play games on normal to start with, to get a feel for how the experience will be for the average player. With Tsushima, I very quickly felt that I needed to raise the difficulty to hard. An early skill in the Heavenly Strike made it very easy to go through groups of enemies, as well as the kunai blades. Experiencing the game on the hard level made me realise why some would say the game is easy. There is one boss battle in Act 1 which I found incredibly difficult. I had to re-attempt it about 8 times before I successfully won the fight. You'll know once you've played it, trust me. Now, I think the gameplay surrounding this battle up to this point felt pretty easy, to be honest, and so the struggles I had in this battle made me seriously think about the game's difficulty, and in the end I came to this conclusion. The game isn't super easy so much as it is incredibly easy to exploit. There are systems in the game which are very exploitable to the point where combat can be simplified. Doesn't mean the game is easy, but there is the choice. The kunai blades are quite honestly the game version of the get out of jail free card from Monopoly. Having trouble with a group? Throw 3, 4, 5 of these laser blades and you'll be okay, trust me. In the same sense, the resolve and charm system can also be exploited to regularly heal and use certain attacks that are pretty much unstoppable. But these are optional. If it is too easy for you, maybe don't use them. I think the only area in which the game could be made more difficult is in regards to stealth and the bow gameplay. For stealth, maybe try making the AI a bit smarter and more consistent. I think that would add a better sense of balance. The resolution here is not to make the enemies more durable. With the bow, it'd be great if more frequently enemies tried to dodge your incoming shots. A lot of the low level enemies particularly just continue charging at you with much regard for the sanctity of their face. I also am not sure how I feel about the slowdown effects with the bow. It does feel like it breaks immersion a little bit for me. Finding the game easy? Play on hard, limit your exploits, and now there is a new difficulty if all of this isn't satisfactory. Ghost of Tsushima's sword combat will rightly win most of the plaudits, but Sucker Punch has also built a system in and around the epic duels, a system that enables you to play the game the way you want to. The game does a great job of balancing fun gameplay with authentic, cinema-esque moments of samurai swordplay sauciness. To be honest, the worst criticism I could give to the gameplay is that perhaps it is a bit safe at times, and sometimes safe is okay, especially when surrounded by moments of stealthy, bow, and of course, straight up samurai badassery. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Gaming Conversation. Let's continue the conversation in the comments section. Let me know about a favourite moment in combat from Ghost of Tsushima. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating goes a long way. And if you're interested in weekly gaming critiques, opinion pieces, and general discussions, subscribe for videos every Saturday at 10 AM UK time. This has been the Gaming Conversation. I have been Michael JH, and at times a Legolas Samurai cosplayer. Peace.